Hi everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yusuf. In this video, I'm going to be showing how you can calculate ECTS from credit you need to acquire during your bachelor degree. So there are some basic rules you need to understand before we can calculate ECTS from your credit you need to acquire during your bachelor degree. So basic rules. What does ECTS stand for? It's European Credit Transfer and Accumulation System. And what they're just trying to understand, they just want to know the time you spend during your undergrad, the time you spent over the lectures you received. It might be 4 years course, it might be 3 years course, it might be 5 years course, it might even be 7 years course, depending on the years you use on your course of study. The number of courses you do, the independent study you have, accumulation of all of these things. They want to see how they add up to your performance or your learning outcomes. That's what it means in essence. So the basic rule or the standard rule is that if you study for a 1 year program, you're expected to have 60 CTS credits. If you study for a 3 year bachelor program, you're expected to have 180 CTS credits and so on. 4 years, 5 years, and 6 years, and so on. So if you look at these things, you will see the difference between each of these credits is like 60 ECTS. So if you study for 7 years, just add 60 to 360 you get for 7 years. If you study for 8 years, add 60 to the next one you get the ECTS credit. That's the standard, which is not like it's just like the standard, so which might not be true in some cases. So you also need to understand that one ECTS is equal to 30 study hours. So let's just calculate Yusuf ECTS for a 4 year bachelor degree. So let's assume Yusuf study for a bachelor degree for 4 years, and Yusuf took 2 unit courses. The number of 2 unit courses Yusuf took during his bachelor degree for the whole 4 years program: 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, and 400 level, 62 unit courses. And Yusuf took 12 3 unit courses and one project, which is 4 unit. Project is 4 unit course. So project research at the end of the bachelor degree. So 2 units, these 2 units multiplied by the number of 2 unit courses that Yusuf took, 2 multiplied by 60, that's 120. And 3 multiplied by the number of 3 unit courses Yusuf took over 4 years, 12, that is 36. Yusuf did only one project, which is 4 units. That one project, 1 times 4 is the same thing as 4. So add these together: 120 plus 36 plus 4 is equal to 160. And 160 multiplied by 1.5 is like the standard that is being used to calculate this. So 160 multiplied by 1.5 is 240 ECTS credit. This is what you should have for a 4 year course. So if you have a 5 years course, 6 years course, this is the ideal. So let's move quickly to, let's say for instance, you want to calculate equivalent ECTS per course. So in some instances, they will really want to know, because when you have 4 years course, most of the time you have to minus some courses. You have to take some courses from different departments just to add up to this, to your expected credit unit. But sometimes when you're applying for some program, they really want to know the courses that you took that are very specific or particular to the course you're applying for. So like they're like the main or the core courses that you did that are very related to the course you want to study, probably subsequently for your masters. So that's the need for the per course or per subject ECTS calculation. So how do you calculate this? So EEPC, I just shortened this, equivalent ECTS per course, is the hours spent in lecture per week. The hours you spend in lecture per week plus the hours you spend for self-study multiplied by the number of weeks in a semester. So hours you spend for self-study varies. It depends depends on you. I don't know how many hours you spend, but in this tutorial, I'm just going to be assuming that the hours you spend in lecture per week is the same thing as the hours you spend for your self-study. I'm just assuming. If you spend more, you can add more, but don't over inflate it rather. So for a 1 unit course, you are expected to have the class 2 hours in a week. Note that this is for my university in Nigeria. You should refer to your own university to determine yours as well. Check your department handbook. You should get information about this there. So if you take 1 unit course, you're expected to have you expect to have 2 hours lecture per week. If it is 2 unit course, you're expected to have 3 hours lecture per week. 3 unit course, 4 hours, and number of week in a semester is usually 3 to 4 months. So this is my own university again. You need to verify your own university. So on average, a semester is usually 3 to 4 months. So let's calculate for history of education. So history of education is like the course we want to calculate. So number of hours per week, 4 lecture hours per week, and number of week per semester is 4 months. You know, 4 months. I said the other time that on average, 4 months make one semester. It can be 3 months, it can be 4 months. So 4 months is equal to 16 weeks. Like 4 multiplied by 4 is equal to 16. So 4 times 16 is equal to 64. So this is like for lecture week, which is just lecture week. This is not for self-study. So if you go back, this 4 here, if you go back here, this is 3 units, 4 hours lecture week. We are assuming that this history of education is a 3-unit course. That's why there is 4 here. So for a 3-unit course, we're expected to have it 4 hours in a week. So 4 number of weeks per semester. In a semester, we said it's usually 3 to 4 months. So we are using 4 months. We are assuming for this university, my own university is 4 months. And if you come, how many weeks do we have in 4 months? 16. So 4 times 16 is 64. So self-study, how many hours I spent like self-study on this particular course of study? So I'm assuming the same hours, 4 hours. So yours can be more, but I'm just assuming the same thing. So 4 months again, which is 16 weeks. 4 times 16, 64. So 64 plus 64, 128. So don't forget, when I started this video, I said 1 ECTS is equal to 30 study hours. So therefore, 128 divided by 30, which is the study hour here, is equal to 4.3 ECTS credit. So what it means is that for this particular course, we have acquired 4.3 ECTS credit for this course. So assuming you are applying for a master's degree in history of education, and during your bachelor degree you've done a course on history of education. So this history of education, you can see you already have 4.3 ECTS on history of education. So let's say, for instance, you do history of education 2, history of education 3, history of education 4. That's how you accumulate it. So by this point, the admission team will be able to know or can tell that, okay, I think this person have a sufficient study hour, both self-study, both lecture per week. You have sufficient knowledge of history of education. So that is what it means in essence. So alternatively, if you don't want to calculate it manually, you can use this website, www.germangradeCalculator.com/ECTS calculator. Let's quickly do that. This is the website. So if you see this website, hours spent in lecture per week, 4 hours. Hours spent in self-study, 4. I am assuming 4 because it's the 3-unit course, and I'm assuming it's 4 hours in a week. So hours spent self-study, I'm assuming it's something as 4. And number of weeks in a semester is 16. You can see equivalent ECTS in the subject is 4.3, which is the same as what we have here, 4.3. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any question or any concern, please drop it right under this video, and I'll try my best to answer them. Bye.